Well, people, after a nail-biting win over Texas, you got those still calling for Bill O'Brien's job. You got Georgia overtaking Alabama as the #1 team in the country according to the AP poll. But you know what? You're rocking and rolling starting this week, starting your Monday on the hottest show on the streets. We got that flame for you. Talking Crimson Tide football. In my own words, touchdown, Alabama Magazine. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. Happy to have you guys locked and loaded with us. We're bringing you the show from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. And speaking of the channel, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Hit it right now. Get every friend, every family member, every casual Bama fan, every diehard Bama fan to subscribe, because if you're feeling the content, guess what? The people around you will as well. Also, don't forget to leave a like. Drop that thumbs up, give us a like on the show, make this your show, your network, platform, channel, and space to talk all things Bama. Turn all of those notifications on, hit that little bell. You don't want to miss nothing when it comes to your Crimson Tide right here on the TDA YouTube channel. We also got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. We got an awesome one tonight, a lot of things we're going to get into. Coach Saban, Alabama understanding. A lot of things that got to get cleaned up, especially these next 2 weeks prior to Arkansas. Alabama traveling to Pig Country on October 1st. The Daily Super Chat goes $75. Daily Super Chat go. My man Big Bill from New York already getting us started with that $5 donation. Appreciate the love there from Bill. And we want you guys call into the show. Do not let tonight go by without letting your voice, your thoughts, your opinions be made known right here. You can do that by calling 205-448-1358. Number to dial in, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you guys. But right now, Eli, my man, let's jump into topic number one of the conversation because these folks ready to get into it. So the big takeaways here from Alabama's win over Texas, and I kind of, even though me personally, I thought Alabama would cover the 20-point spread over the weekend, I had a thought that, Steve Sarkisian in this game was going to attack the secondary. He was going to attack the corners. He was going to put Quinn Ewers in situations where he could really stretch the field with his arm. Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, they both played extremely well. I felt like Alabama's defensive front handled Bijan Robinson successfully as far as the run game is concerned. Now, he did catch 3 passes for 73 yards, but the run game, Bijan Robinson only had, 57 yards rushing, averaged, 2.4 yards per carry, something like that. So, but the big takeaways here from the game in the victory, first and foremost, Bryce Young. I mean, when everything is going wrong and you have a quarterback that still can be the difference maker and win you a football game, that's when you know you got a special dude as your trigger man. And Bryce Young showed us why he's the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and could be the first player since Archie Griffin, 1974 and 75 Ohio State edition, to go back-to-back where the Heisman Trophy is concerned. The number two you look at, this Alabama offensive line, got to stop the mixing and matching. Get 5 guys that you trust, build the chemistry, build the continuity with those 5 guys, and just let those 5 guys go to work. Number 3, for Alabama, it's, can it develop that explosive, take the top off of defense, speedster at wide receiver? I mean, yes, they've got a couple of guys banged up, JoJo Earl, Tyler Harrell, and we'll get more into those 2 guys. But despite the receivers that Alabama's got on the roster, it's got to have that guy that can take the top off and provide instant offense on Jalen Waddle and Jamison Williams. Does Alabama have that guy on the roster not banged up right there now that it can go to? It's got a couple of guys. I don't know why they're not being utilized more, but that goes back to a lot of the fan base wondering, why is Bill O'Brien still in Tuscaloosa as the offensive coordinator? But moving on to the fourth fact in the game, other players on defense needing to step up and finish. We saw against Texas that you take away Will Anderson and frustrate him. You take away Dallas Turner, you double team him. You got other guys on the field free. They've got to finish plays. You got to hit home and finish on plays. And last but not least, I don't think anybody on the bingo card had the kicking game as the biggest strength to winning. Nobody had Will Reichard and James Burnap for the win on the bingo card. Well, probably you had Will Reichard, but nobody on God's earth had James Burnap on the bingo card. If you did, come down and claim your prize. You probably capping, but come down and claim your prize if you did have James Burnap on the bingo card there for the win. But anyway, those are the 5 takeaways. And just starting this thing off with Bryce Young here. Folks, this is no offense to the previous quarterbacks of the Nick Saban era. This is no offense to but a John Parker Wilson, a Greg McElroy, an A.J. McCarron, a Blake Sims, a Jacob Coker, a Jalen Hurts, a Tua Tagovailoa, or a Mac Jones. Quite a few of these names I just mentioned got Bama to national championships, absolutely. But Alabama fans, you for the longest time, you wanted a quarterback where it didn't matter what the situation was. If this guy's on the field, holy smoke, we're going to win a football game. It doesn't matter if Alabama's ahead. It doesn't matter if Alabama's tied. It doesn't matter if Alabama's trailing. Give us a guy that we know. If we got the ball last and this is our quarterback, no fear, no doubt. We're going to win. We got full confidence that we're going to win. And when I look at Bryce Young, it's Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs. It's Aaron Rodgers for the Packers. Tom Brady. It doesn't matter what the moment is. If 9 has the ball last for Alabama, ice in the veins, big heart, can't lose. It does not miss. I go back to last year in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. You're down 10-3 in a ruckus, crazy, hostile Jordan-Hare Stadium, and Bryce Young is just smiling. He knew what was up. He knew he was about to win and took the team down the field, 12 plays, 97 yards, hooking up with Ja'Cory Brooks, and it happens again against Texas. With a minute 27 to go, you're down 19-17. Bryce Young takes you down the field, 61 yards in 9 plays, including a run where Texas had a free blitzer coming dead at Bryce. He ducks up under the blitz, pops out of it, has a 20-yard run, sets up Will Reichard for the game-winning 33-yard field goal. You win 20-19. He's special. Bryce Young is special, and special young men make those types of plays, and they can overcome. Bryce Young overcame horrible play. He overcame horrible play calling, offensive line being inconsistent, receivers not getting open, defense having several penalties, defensive backs not covering receivers. Bryce Young overcame all of that, still won. That's how you know. This guy's a truck. He's not a trailer. He pulls the team. Team don't pull him. Bryce Young, special dude right there. So that's number one. Number two, you look at this offensive line. And as much as we all like depth up front, we all do. And as much as Coach Saban has all the respect in the world for Kendall Randolph, been here 6 years, all of the determination, the perseverance, the stick-to-itiveness, the great story that is, at some point, you got to put the mix and the matching aside. get your 5 guys that you trust and get those guys to gel together. Get the 5 guys that you trust and just roll with it. I mean, for Kendall Randolph, love you, but Javion Cohen, he's the guy at left guard. Start him. He's the guy at left guard. Go Steen, Cohen, Dalcourt, Ekiyor, Latham. Build that camaraderie with those 5. Build that chemistry with those 5. Let those 5 gel together, and let's see here what you got. Because when you keep mixing and matching and rotating and flipping and flopping, the guys do not have that chance to understand each other on the offensive line. And you got to have 5 guys that understand each other as one. Now, the zone down blocking, they do a pretty good job of. But the man-to-man, put a hat on a hat and drive, you got to be able to gel to put a hat on a hat and drive. And be consistent also in pass protection. Bryce Young sacked twice and hit 7 times or against Texas. So for Alabama's offensive line, get 5 guys that you trust and just roll with that. Moving down to the wide receiver room, Bama's got to have that elite guy, speedster, that can just create, instant offense out there, get behind a secondary and take the top off a defense, because for 3/4 of the game last week, nobody got open. Nobody got open. You could put some of that on O'Brien's play calling, but more so that goes on these receivers. You got to get open. No one talked a lot about Texas's defensive secondary. They're good, talented, but nobody spent just a great deal of time talking about Texas's defensive secondary. Jermaine Burton's known as route runner, right? Coming up from Georgia, known. Route runner, known. He may not be no burner, but he's got speed. He's a 4.37, 4.42 type guy. He's got speed. Should be able to create separation, right? Trayshawn Holden, physical guy at 6'3". Should be able to create separation, right? Kobe Prentice, coming out of high school, was a 4.3, 40 guy. Should be able to consistently create that separation, right? Isaiah Bond, speed. Kendrick Law, speed. People keep asking, where's Christian Leary? He's got that 100-meter dash speed. Where he at? Out there, did not see him in the matchup. So, I know Coach Saban said these guys came of age in the 4th quarter, but when Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, is your leading receiver, 9 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown, we have a problem here. So for Alabama's receivers, does Bama have that guy that can create that instant offense, taking the top off a defensive secondary? Got some guys that can do it, have the potential to do it. You got to create that separation in your routes. You got to create that separation with your speed. If you have physicality, you got to create that separation also with that, but not pushing off too much, because that could result in a penalty there. But the point being, you got to get open. Bryce Young shouldn't be holding the ball for 6 seconds. You got to get open. And that's the thing there. The receiver room, that's number 3. Number 4, defensively, other guys have got to make plays. Other guys have got to step up. Texas, Steve Sarkisian, give him credit. His blueprint was, I am going to neutralize 31 and 15. I'm going to double team Will Anderson, scheme away from him, and I'm going to scheme away from Dallas Turner. And by God, he did it successfully. Anderson got frustrated, and I've never seen Will Anderson that frustrated to where, 1 offsides penalty, I get it, but 3 offsides penalties and a personal foul, I've never seen Will that frustrated. But he'll bounce back from that. I have no doubt in my mind. He'll bounce back from that. But my thing is here, you got other guys. Henry To'o on one play came free. Didn't get to Quinn Ewers. Malachi Moore blitzed. Completely missed the quarterback. There was a play where you got Hudson Card on a gimpy bum leg giving DJ Dale the business. DJ Dale just flops out there trying to get him, and Hudson Card hops out of a sack. Other guys got to finish plays. If the opposition is scheming away from Will and Dallas, Other guys have to be able to get free, hit home, and finish. You got to be able to do that. I know a lot of people are going to look at, Pete Golding. I get that. But at some point, players have got to be able to make plays. You got to hit home. You got to finish. If you a 4-star, 5-star, play like a 4-star, 5-star. If you were that highly recruited coming out of high school, whether it was a big high school or a high school somewhere in Timbuktu, I want to see that. Finish the play. You get a free shot at a quarterback, rock his world. Finish that play. And a lot of times, did not see guys finishing that play. The one guy I did see that consistently finished plays was Jalen Moody. And Jalen Moody, 2 games, boy, has he been a rock star. Boy, has he shown that he deserves to be a starter on this first-team defense. I mean, goodness, first game of the season against Utah State, led the team in tackles with, 6? Had tackle for loss 2. And then week 2, all he did, shared the team high in tackles with 10. Had a sack and a tackle for loss. Jalen Moody through 2 games, 16 tackles. He's showing you, I can thump. I can stick my nose in. I can stuff the run. I can make big plays. I can sack the quarterback. I'm what you need. Jalen Moody giving you what you need. He has earned, he is earning his out there on the field. But other guys got to finish when you're out there and you are given the opportunity to finish. But I thought the biggest thing was the kicking game. James Burnap and Will Reichert, biggest difference in Saturday's matchup. Will Reichert, folks, just for the first time, Alabama fans, no more rituals. No more which cuss word do I say to make the kicker make the field goal. No more how much alcohol do I consume for the kicker to make a field goal. No more how much drugs do I take for the kicker to make a field goal. It's no more how many chants do I have to say for the kicker to make a field goal. No, Will Reichert's out there. He's got it. Big man, do you think? And I've talked to hundreds upon thousands of Bama fans. That's like, Steven, you just don't know how good it is to watch the TV and watch a kicker come up there, and it's a kicker for Bama, and it's Will Reichert. And I don't have to do anything special for him to make the kick. I just trust and believe in Will. And he makes the kick every single time. And against Texas, made 2 of them. 52-yard field goal, 33-yarder to win the game. Of his 6 kickoffs, 3 of those went for touchbacks. Texas did not get a chance to return those. And then James Burnap, boy, he stepped up. Burnap had 6 punts, averaged 41.5 yards per boot. 3 of his punts pinned Texas inside the 20, including a long punt of 50 yards. Kicking game, how about that? Kicking game stepped up in a major way right there. And not too many people had James Burnap as a reason for Alabama being successful there against the Horns. But those are just my takeaways there from the match. We're going to go to our first break here, people. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, I want to hear from you. Light those phones up, Bama Nation. Give me what you got, and we'll get to you guys after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, folks, we're back into the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, bringing you your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. My man Eli Walker in the production studio saying the phone lines are lit. So we're going to get to you guys. But before we do, got to shout out Jamie Wilhelm with that 4989 in the Super Chats. Appreciate the love there from Jamie. And then Sweet Home Bama 22 with that $10 donation. Throwing the love there in the bucket. But we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. You're live on the show. It's popping. How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hi, Stephen. Bill from New York. Want you to know I'm doing better now. It took some time, but I'm okay now. You know what I mean? I was pretty upset about this game. You know, now normally, Stephen, when I call you, I go on I say what I have to say and hang up. This time I got just a few points to make real quick. Would you mind addressing them one at a time?
Go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Okay. My first thing I want to talk about is the offensive line. See, to me, the guy who impressed me most, believe it or not, was Latham. He had a couple of penalties, whatever, but I like the angle he got on his blocks and this and that. You know, I like the way he played. I wasn't overly impressed with Steen, the left tackle. And it occurred to me, we might have a team full of left tackles, with Latham, Steen, Brockmeyer. You know what I mean? But we're missing, at left tackle, we're missing the muscle guy that we've always had, like a Cam Robinson, Evan Neal. Man, do we miss that guy? Leatherwood was one of my favorites, really, and I'm just hoping they could do something about that. What do you think about that?
Well, first and foremost, Bill, I agree with you. J.C. Latham plays mean. He plays mean. He plays angry as a right tackle, and I like that guy. And the penalties, I'm not concerned about that. It was Latham's first start in a hostile environment. That's going to happen. But I thought he played extremely well. Steen, I give him one more game to try to get all the kinks in order, but I really like Latham. My thing is with the offensive line, Bill, is I know we like to mix and match with the offensive guards on the interior, but just get two guys that you trust and build this thing, because on the line, you got to have five guys that know each other, that understand each other, and that can work well together as one cohesive unit. That's the hardest unit to gauge because they all need time together. And when you keep mixing and matching, they're not getting that time together.
I got you. And we're on the same page with that. I really agree. Now, the other point I want to make, I think is interesting. With this, it's about this NIL. You can't tell me that our team isn't more talented than what we showed. But with this NIL, Stephen, you got guys coming in here, they're getting money before they even take the field. Not only that, they could take their money and run. They could be free agents tomorrow and keep the money they made here and go to some other school. And I think that's a problem. And, notice that Texas A&M, with all their, who God knows how many millions of dollars they gave away, they lost. The other team, that lousy team they played, had the ball for 41 minutes. So I think too many guys are coming in here with money in their pocket. Stephen, when I was that age, right? Look, I was out there. All I wanted to do was hang out with beautiful women. I was running the streets of New York, please. And I didn't have $500,000 in my pocket. You know what I mean? I'm not saying what I did was right, But that's the way young guys think a lot of times. Now, these guys, you got $500,000, $1 million in your pocket, a couple of 100,000 even. What? That's going to be really hard to reel these players in because they're told before they even take the field, "Oh, you're great." And I didn't notice that with Bama playing lousy, A&M like playing really lousy. Oh my God. 41 minutes, the other team has the ball. You got possession of the football for 19 minutes. Something's wrong. What do you think about that?
I mean, Bill, absolutely. It's so different now. The athlete is different. The mindset is different. I mean, I remember when, of course, with me, it's you're playing it for the love of the game and trying to get to the NFL. That's where the wealth is. That's where the big generational money is, the NFL. But with this NIL, and I said this before, with the NIL, you are removing the hard work from a lot of these players. You are removing the motive and the motivation from them because they feel like, okay, I'm 17, 18 years old, and you're going to give me, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Where's my motivation now? I didn't took care of my mama at 18 years old. What's next? I've taken care of my dad, my grandmother. I done got my family out of a rough situation at 17, 18. So where's the motivation now? Versus then where, you were going to college, you were playing college ball, but the main thing was the NFL. I got to grind to the NFL. So for some of these athletes, the NIL has removed the hunger. And with no hunger, there's no motivation.
That's my point. And my last point is I think that last season was really, and I know this is a reach, but I think it might have been the best I've ever seen out of Saban. I didn't think we were that great last year. I thought we were great in 2020. I mean, that was the best team. Like, that team was just so good at every position, But if Saban can correct what's wrong with this team, I think this will be his biggest achievement as a coach. He's got a lot of guys, these guys like with the upside down horns, and I think he can do it. I think he can do it. It's going to take some work, but as always, let me just say thanks for taking my call. Thanks for letting me be a part of this show. I really do appreciate it. God bless, Stephen.
Absolutely. My man Bill from New York calling in, getting us started on a Monday. We continue with calls. We grab this one. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Stephen, were you not entertained Saturday? Tell me were you not entertained Saturday?
I was, though. I was entertained Saturday.
Listen, whatever comic book these guys are reading, getting the rules out of, on these shows or wherever they're at, roughing the passer is not reviewable, but they did. So, Bryce wasn't down. Shin wasn't down. Elbow wasn't down. Chase McClellan was in there when he threw the ball. The ball bounced off actually one of their players, Texas players. Heard people tell me he was down. That was a safety, this or that. Well, put your comic book down, get you some new glasses, get your TV tuned up a little bit, and get on the same page with all the rest of us. I think we need to remember Mac Jones, too. He got hurt. Let's remember Mac. He was one of our great players. Let's remember him. But I think it's been about 17 years since we won a ball game on a field goal, and I think that was on the foot of Jamie Christensen. In 2005, I think he won 3 games, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and an ugly Texas Tech bowl game when Mike Leach was the coach down there. So I remember that pretty well. I believe that's correct. Am I correct on that, Stephen? Is that correct?
Jamie Christensen did do that, Wagon, but I think the last time Bama won a game on a field goal, I think it was 2009 with Lee Tiffin.
It might have been 9. Some people said it was 6, but I know we won 3 in 2005. Lee may have won a game in 9. It might. You may be right, but it's been a long time since we won, on a field goal. But anyway, it was a great win. You was in a dogfight. You was with another great team. That's what happens. We're not going to win every game by 50 points. You got to take a win. You got to move on. No major injuries. Terry Bowden coming to town, Santa Claus is. He has to jump up to answer the telephone. Let's beat the shit out of him and move on. Roll Tide. Horns down. I love all y'all Blue Ridge gang. Y'all doing it. Let's do it. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate weighing in the president, calling us in on a Monday. You guys are lighting this up. We get to another one, Eli. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, this is Coach Brian Mabry calling from Conway, South Carolina.
What's going on with you, Coach?
I'm doing good. Hey, Stephen, first off, I really appreciate the insights you give for Alabama football. Obviously, I'm from Conway, so you got one of our good players there that's playing right now, getting a lot of playing time. But one of the things I want to talk about is kind of a threefold conversation. Me being Atlanta, Georgia, that's where I was born and raised. I kind of compare Alabama and Georgia together. Right now, when you look at both of those squads and you look at the difference between them defensively and offensively and the hunger that those teams play for, I just see some lackadaisical behavior with the Alabama team. And I watch all your games, and I break it down. I get a good idea of what they're doing. I think right now the difference between the two programs, like you said, I think the NIL money is creating some softness. They're not doing it for the right reasons and the right direction. Secondly, obviously, you've been one of the biggest advocates of Jalen Moody, who I coach personally. And I want to say one thing. I don't know what's going on there, but that kid can't get no recognition from that staff. That kid has played his absolute behind off for 2 weeks in a row. Every time he's got an opportunity, he's stepped up to the plate. And, I hear the Alabama fans, I read some of the blogs asking for that thumper, that bring it downhill, give it to you type of guy. He's the one. You can watch that film, and the film don't lie. I just don't quite understand why they're so in love with Henry T. Every week getting an award, but when you watch the game, no impact. None. Absolutely none. No physicality, not making plays. And I don't want to be negative towards the kid. I mean, it's just the way that it is. But my thing is that Moody kid, you mark my word, I'm going to say this not because of that, and I'll be very honest, I'm probably a little bit prejudiced towards him. But the reality of it is that guy's going to be the one that's going to be in the league. And I just don't understand why he don't get any recognition. The fans recognize it. People see it. But that staff, for some reason, I don't get it. How in the hell this week alone, has that kid not won Defensive Player of the Week? I don't get it. He should have gotten it 2 weeks in a row. And you know what, Stephen? I'm just going to hang up and listen.
Appreciate my man, Coach Kenneth, calling in. I agree with that. Moody, and that shocked me too. DeMarco Helms, no offense to Marco for Defensive Player of the Week by the coaching staff, but that should have been Jalen Moody. Jalen Moody, 10 tackles, a huge sack, a tackle for loss. Remember, Jalen Moody had 2 big tackles for loss against Texas, and they were negated because of penalties. The guy is a rough rider. He's an old-school throwback rough rider and needs to be acknowledged by this coaching staff. Absolutely. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? What's happening? State your name and where you calling from.
This is Rambo calling from Atlanta. How you doing today, Steve?
Rambo, I can't complain, man. Better question, how are you?
All right, man. I'm happy we came out with a dub. It feels good to talk about how bad we played and still win, other than be like Texas A&M. Then you have to go all the way back to the drawing board. But I just have a couple things to say. Did you see Desmond Howard make those picks? Did you see him pick Texas A&M, pick? And he picked somebody else.
Rambo,
his teams are wiped out.
Rambo, I'll just say this about Dez, man. I think Dez, God bless him, I think Dez got the wrong Chronic. I don't think he got Dr. Dre's album. I think he got the wrong Chronic, man.
And the other thing I had to say, I want to talk about the conditions. Why in the hell the $1 million band don't have no seats and the AC unit is broken in the locker room? Alabama had to bring their own damn AC unit. On top of playing on a 120-degree weather football field, then go in the locker room with straight heat and humidity. You're not finna have those players full focus. They exhausted and hot. So I feel like that was disrespect to the Alabama program. They talking about horns down when we don't even have no damn AC or can even let the full program travel. And my other thing is, I want to see Jihad Campbell. He's on that 2D depth chart. Henry Toto is not a thumper. I feel like Alabama, they caught up to the new era of football, but Nick Saban has ran away from strength, power, and finesse. We used to have all three. Reuben Foster is not no speedy. He's sideline to sideline, but he's a thumper. Londo McClain's a thumper. Hightower's a thumper. The only thing they really love about Henry T is that he has speed. Besides his speed, Henry T is nothing. And with Will and Dallas Turner, once you stop those two guys, nobody else on the damn defense can help him. So Will gets frustrated because he see that they're throwing that ball out on him. So he's like, all right, let me inch up to the line closer. Let me inch up to the line closer. But he was too busy trying to play hero ball because the other players wasn't stepping up. And that's all I had to call about, man. That's all I had to call about. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. Good points there from Rambo calling in out of Atlanta. We go to this call here, Eli. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, my name's Austin. I'm from Florida.
What's going on, man?
Yes, sir. I just want to talk about the offense a little bit. You know, our run game wasn't the best. And honestly, I think Trey Sanders needs to be in there. I think maybe try Gibbs at receiver. Let McClellan run the ball. Him and Trey, 1 and 2.
I mean, Gibbs at receiver looked great against Texas. It didn't have a lot of success running the ball, but I would like to see Trey Sanders a little bit more. I would like to see Jace McClellan run the ball.
The field.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see Trey more. He didn't touch the field. You're right. He did not. Roydell touched the field one time, but Trey didn't touch the field.
I feel like Trey has the size and strength to get those, you know, when they put Roydell in on the 4th and inches. I would have liked to see Trey right there.
I would have too.
But, you know, it is what it is. Time will tell.
Time will definitely tell. Appreciate Austin there for that call out of Florida. We continue here. We grab this one. Eli, you're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hello.
You're live on the show.
Oh, what's going on, Steven, man? This is Cal from Montgomery, man. What's happening?
Cal, what's happening, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. Look, I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna keep it brief. I feel like it's a gift and a curse for us to have come that close to the brink of defeat, still ink it out, man. I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna give the guys credit, man. You know that's a tough environment. I don't think people really understand that heat, man. That heat is something different, and I know we all in the Southeast, but that heat is something different down there, brother, or up there. And I just gotta say, look, man. The guys, they inked it out, and this is perfect for it to happen this early in the season, is it not? That's my thing, man. For it to happen this early in the season, that was a beautiful thing, man. I just gotta say, roll tide, and we're gonna be all right, man. We gonna figure everything out. We're gonna be all right.
Appreciate Kyle from Montgomery calling in. I go back to Saban said today, Eli, mental toughness. You got to make it work in the hard situations. Hard times make for tough people. Easy times make for soft people. So you got to have some mental toughness. Bam went through that over the weekend. We grabbed this call. You're live on the show. It's happening. How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Steven, it's your boy Coach Smoot, man. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Coach Smoke? What's going on, man? I know you've been having a lot to say since that thing hit 000.
Man, let me tell you, Steven, and I'm gonna continue to echo the what majority of the Knoxville fan base has been speaking, man. And this, I'm gonna be brief, Steven. I'm gonna work my way on the offensive side because that's just close to my heart. You know what my heart is, the wide receivers. If you don't get guys like Ja'Cory Brooks, guys like Christian Leary, guys that are strong coming off the ball, Trayshawn Holden, if you don't make them the primary option in pass scheme, you're failing our passing game because Jermaine Burton cannot get off any type of jam, any type of man coverage. Jermaine Burton cannot create no type of space. And that's where I believe we did not get to see and expose last year when he played against us because the way our coverage played. We know what our problem was last year in the secondary. And I don't understand, like one of the calls, I think Coach said it earlier, you talk about how the coaching staff is acknowledging these certain personnel, all these so-called big names, but you got guys that are actually going out there and producing. Jalen Moody is literally the energy on that second level of the defense. Toa, he's not even, I don't see the speed. He's always getting beat on the edge. And when he's not getting beat on the edge and has the angle, he's trying to do this arm tackling and trying to wrap people up and sling them instead of running through them. And it's like, come on, guys. If Kool-Aid McKinstry wouldn't have came off his route and made the stop on that third and 5, I think it was a 37 close to the goal line, that would have been a touchdown because Toa was not running full speed to make that tackle. He was ready to lay out at his guy's feet, and he had an ankle. He was ready to lay out and be lazy because even after Kool-Aid made the tackle, he comes over there and flops on top of the guy after he's already down, risking another late hit penalty. So, like, this guy is not bought in. You may be smart. You may be smart in the film room. You may be destined to be a grad assistant or something post, but you're not an inside linebacker for Alabama football. I'm sorry, Henry T. I'm sorry. You got guys like Kendrick Blackshear, Deontay Lawson, and Jaheed Campbellson behind him, and you got a Moody, a fifth-year guy who knows the defense. Let him make his mistakes. I guarantee you he's going to make up for him. That boy can hit. That boy is the only thing on the second level. Him and Jordan Battle. I feel like Jordan Battle play more inside linebacker than Toa do, and DeMarco Hellams. And I want to give them credit. Those two, they made some young mistakes early in that game. They gave us so much over the top, not being disciplined, covering over the top first, and then it got our DBs exposed early. And they had the quarterback did not respect them. But I've seen the adjustments in the second half, and I want everybody to think about this. A lot of the mental areas and situations that we found ourselves in on defense, they were not because of defensive play calling. They were not because of the defensive play calling. I will say this. Pete Golden waited too late to start sending that extra pressure because they could not stop us when we sent 5. But back to my original point. It wasn't because of the play calling. It was literally because players were not wrapping up, players were not being physical, players were not sprinting, getting hats to the ball. Literally, it was a lack of effort from the players. You can't coach that. You cannot coach that. You can put the pressure on players by, hey, I see you not playing. Young guy, get in there. I don't care if the young guy make a mistake. I want to see some effort. That's the type of old school I think we're used to seeing because I remember when Javier Arenas and Daquan Minzy, all those guys, when Minzy first got there, like Minzy would get in for one play just for effort. He would get that man when Daquan first got to Alabama, he did not have the feet to play a cornerback at Alabama. He did not have the feet. He was physical, he was strong, he had speed, but he did not have the footwork. So his first year there, he would spot play. And then Tony Brown, same thing happened with Tony Brown. You got guys sitting like that on the bench right now, young guys that's going to go out there and give you that effort. Put them in there, Steven. Put them in there, coach. Let's go. We have nothing to lose at that point. We have nothing to lose. We're in a dog fight. You got talent. You got to use it. Jaheim Otis has to be on the field. Has to be on the field. DJ Dell, he's a spot player. Jaheim Otis has to be on the field. He creates so much disruption. Jamil Burroughs is disciplined. Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, the whole 3-man rotation on the outside at the linebacker is perfect. I just don't understand our personnel decisions at the staff level, guys. And then my last point, and I'm getting off. Kyrie Jackson ain't it. I'm sorry. Kyrie, your 2 biggest moments, your 2 opportunities to prove that you can be a lockdown corner and handle your assignment on a fade route. A fade route. You have got toasted and bean topped both times by players younger than you. You supposed to have all this experience and gameplay, all this stuff. You got bean topped. And then Kool-Aid, you out there getting mixed up too with all that NIL stuff and all this Instagram posting. Get your butt in the lab. Too much talent to be getting distracted, son. You worried about somebody posting about you. Go to that film room and look at how that doggone receiver cooked you on that deep K route. You better doggone use your feet, son. And Terry Arnold, I'm proud of you. You grew up that game. Safeties, I'm proud of y'all. Y'all grew up that game. Malachi Moore, you came in and you grew up. I saw you. I saw you fighting. Deion Branch, I saw you fighting. Eli Ricks, keep your head up, son. Practice consistently. That seems to be your problem. Go to practice and give 100% effort. I'm done, Steven. I'm out.
Coach Smokes and Adore Hines letting the chopper fall here on a Monday, recapping this Alabama-Texas matchup. In my own words, we go to this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, what's going on, Steve? This is Sam, man, calling from Dallas, Texas. How you doing, brother?
Sam, I am is in here. What's going on, brother?
Okay, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and get this started off right. First of all, let's stop blaming the weather. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama, all the way, and I currently live in Texas. It's not the heat. It's just as hot in Alabama as it is in Texas. We used to it in Alabama, so the heat wasn't a factor. At the end of the day, Steven, I agree with a lot of the callers. You got to stop this prima donna stuff. You got to get back to the dirt. You got to put your head down. You got to go to work. Now, that's on the coaching staff. That's on your offensive coordinator. That's on your defensive coordinator. When you know them boys ain't doing what they supposed to be doing, you got to rotate them boys out. Coach said all the time, well, I got several people fighting for a position. Well, let's show it. Let's switch them out. Let's figure it out. You can do it. Why? You ain't got nothing to lose. I agree with what they say about Tora. I understand that. He's not a banker. He's a coordinator. And that's usually what you look for a lot of times in your play calling guy that's on the field. But when it's time to put them dogs in there, man, I agree. Put Moody back there. Put them guys back there, man. That's absolute dogs. But by now, Steven, you ought to know who your dogs are. So when you know you in a dog fight, you got to switch these boys out and put your dogs in. We got too much talent at Bama to be doing this prima donna stuff, man. It's time to get right. It's time to get right or get left, man. That's bottom line, man. I'm through with it, Steve. I'm out. I appreciate it.
Sam from Dallas, Texas, letting himself be made known on the show. Continue with calls. They lighten us up. Eli, we grab this one. You're live on the show. It's popping. State your name and where you calling from.
Steven, this is Taylor from Mobile, Alabama. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing fantastic, brother, and yourself.
Can't complain, my brother. Can't complain. Man, I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. First and foremost, I think as a true freshman, I think Kobe Prentice is holding his own, to at least say the least. I know he had that route mix-up on a key third down, and Bryce kind of threw it behind him, even though it wasn't Bryce's fault. Probably should have sat more down after the break of his route and made the catch. But other than that, I do think Kobe Prentice is playing pretty well. And secondly, this is something that I've been thinking about this past weekend. Over the past few years, us as Bama fans have been blessed, and I mean truly blessed, with great wide receiver talent. I mean, if you take a look at just the 2017 class that we recruited, we had 4 first-round picks with Judy, Smitty, Ruggs, and who was the other one? Who was the fourth one? Judy, Smitty, Ruggs.
Well, Waddle came in 18, so yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Waddle was the 18, and then heck, even Slade Bolden was a 2018 class guy as well. And in 2019 class, we had John Mechie. So we have recruited at a super high level and been getting these super uber talented wide receivers. So my thinking is we're getting all these guys in, and they're obviously coming in super talented. I mean, are we just not developing the guys that may come in and may not be quite to their tier, as in like the 2020 guys and the 2021 guys? I know they're young, but maybe they're not quite as talented as that 2017, 2018 class kids were. And so maybe we're kind of just riding off of their talent and not maybe developing them as much as we probably should, because we've been so blessed with the earlier classes. I don't know. It's just something that I've been kind of thinking, is that maybe we're just kind of riding their talent and not maybe pushing them as much. I could be wrong. I'm not calling any coaches out because that's not my job. I'm not a football guy. I just love Alabama football. So that's just been kind of my take on it. I don't know about you. I would love to hear your take on it.
Appreciate the call right there from Caleb. Well, Kobe Prince is going to be okay. I mean, young guy, freshman, had the mistake right there, but he's held his own, absolutely. Isaiah Bond stretched out, tried to make a play, couldn't quite hold it, but that's freshman mistake right there. They'll get over that. My thing is that 2017, a group of receivers plus Waddle, who came in 2018, what made that group unique was it was not NIL time yet, right? So those guys were still dogs. It was that hunger of, I got to get to the NFL. And with the NIL now, it's you come in, you're already a star. And when you put money out there in college football, before you even do anything to assert yourself or to prove that you're deserving of that, like I said, it robs you of the hunger, it robs you of the drive, it robs you of the motivation. And honestly, it robs the team you're going to of what type of play are we getting? Are we getting the player that's in it to be that player that we need? Or are we getting the player just because he's getting the NIL deal? That's what the question revolves around. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. It's happening. What's going on? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steve, man. Mr. Robert from Mobile.
What's going on, Rob?
Yeah, I think right now the biggest tragedy I think what I have with the team playing, and then in general, is that we'll have, I think the consensus is Bryce Young is the best quarterback Alabama in the history of Alabama football. And we may be having the best quarterback in the history of Alabama football. May not have another one like him, who knows, forever. And we're not able to put great players up, players who are playing great around him the way they used to be. Back in the day when we had McElroy and McCarron, that was again, not to knock them, but, they weren't on Bryce Young's level. Neither was Coker or, Blake Sims. They weren't on Bryce Young's level. And we got this guy, and now we can't seem to get the team around him that we used to have with other quarterbacks. And they weren't as talented as Bryce Young, but they're knock against the Alabama quarterbacks who will look at all the talent around him. Now we got the quarterback, and for some reason the talent around him doesn't seem to be clicking as well as it should be, which is really unfortunate because it's like, wow, we can't waste the greatest quarterback in the history of Alabama football right now, but not being able to get the team clicking around it like it used to be. And again, I know everybody's criticizing Bill O'Brien, but it's hard not to. The guy's play calling is just suspect at best and atrocious sometimes at worst. I mean, it's such a step down going from Sarkisian, who was the best, to Bill O'Brien, who just seems like, man, can you run the ball? Can you get some schemes together that helps Bryce Young out and that helps the team out? And again, the decision of not running Jalen Milroe in that 4th and inches or one of the other running backs, it's just still weird. I mean, he would have got a first down had he not tripped. Like, we watched the video. If he doesn't trip, he does get that first down. That still doesn't make it not a bad decision. You had other better options, and you just didn't do it. And that's what seems to be our problem with the way Bill O'Brien runs things. You have better options, like you can run the ball 3 times when you're in the 5-yard line, but you just don't do it. That's where a lot of our problems lie with him. I think we're too quick on the NIL thing to judge this. That's the reason why they're not focused, because it's too early. We don't know. And secondly, NIL is here to stay, folks. Yeah, I mean, you might as well not even gripe about it anymore. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's not going back. Teams better just figure out a way to adjust around it. So, which Nick Saban and they eventually will. So I'm not ready to say it's NIL the reason why they're not performing well. Well, Georgia has NIL money too. Their players is Georgia fans complaining about what their players doing right now? Now, I think Georgia's problem may come down the road. Their schedule is backloaded with a bunch of tough teams at the end. But still, I mean, I think we should stop with this NIL, bashing NIL. Well, not so much bashing it, but thinking that that's the reason why the plays may not be as high. Because even if it is the reason, well, it's here to stay, so better figure out a way around it. But, yeah, it's a 1-point win over Texas is not satisfying. And for the reason that we are better than 1 point, we're much better than 1 point over Texas. If we're not, then we might as well give Georgia the trophy now. We can't beat them. So there's no solace in this 1-point victory, especially with all the sloppy play. And we all know that if the 15 penalties were 7 penalties, then we run away with that game. If they cut the penalties in half, we run away with that game. If we drop a couple of fewer balls, we run away with that game. So we know it was a sloppy play. That is the reason why it was a 1-point win, not because we're only 1 point better than Texas. So we shouldn't be happy with that. And we're not. So, but hopefully they got time to get better. So hopefully they will. All right, man. Thanks for letting me rant.
Absolutely. Appreciate my man Robert from Mobile with his call. And for Bill O'Brien, I mean, I've always heard this. If one person says something, it could be true, it could not be true. But when you have several people saying the same thing, there's smoke, there's fire. And when you got fans saying it, when you got former players for Alabama visibly upset on social media by the play calling of Bill O'Brien, Smokey the Bear, I see smoke. There's fire somewhere when you look at the play calling of Bill O'Brien. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? What's happening? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steve, man, this is Ralph from Birmingham, Alabama, man. How you feeling, man?
Man, I cannot complain, brother. The better question is, how are you?
Man, I'm frustrated because it seemed like some of the same problems we have last year on offense, seem like they've been enhanced and advanced this year. And with, Bill O'Brien not really want to run the ball for real, especially when the run game starts to getting good. We had that one big run, and I'm like, okay, Bill O'Brien, he dialed up a good one. And I'm like, okay, if he keep this up and then, draw the defensive end, make them pull up, then we can probably work on that passing game. But what did he do? He just abandoned it. And then even the announcer said that he completely abandoned the run game. And it's like, I don't understand. They talk good about Jamar Gibbs. We got McCullen, and we got some other young talent in there that can, get some reps, and he won't use them. On the defensive side, the only thing I see is number 10, inside linebacker. Pretty much everybody been talking about him. I've seen him on a play to where he was supposed to be plugging that hole, but he eventually had his face in the behind of a Texas player. And, I was making jokes with my mom and dad watching the game with him. I said, this man out here smelling butt. And so I'm like, I'm not trying to talk down on the kid, but it just is based on his play. And a lot of times I purposely watch him, and I see how sometimes he'll run around the play. He don't go up the gut. Sometimes it just seems like he just scrambling right side to side, like he don't know what to do. And I understand, look, you got to make quick decisions in a moment. But, I mean, for Alabama defense to really be elite, we have to have solid inside linebacker play. And through the history, even before Nick Saban even got there, when Gene Stallings, when he was there, we had good inside linebacker play. So I'm glad we got this game. I'm glad we got the win, but I'm glad we got that whooping. And I just want to say this, not to be, like we did something. If Texas starting quarterback would have stayed in this game, it would have been lights out. We would have really been in trouble. And I'm just gonna say roll tide. I appreciate the win, but man, things gonna have to change. I just like to hear your opinion on that.
Things are going to have to improve. I mean, things are going to have to get better because if Quinn Ewers, the starting quarterback for Texas, would have remained healthy and not taken that hit by Dallas Turner, it would have been a completely different ball game because Steve Sarkisian had that freshman quarterback playing with house money confidence because he was slinging that ball with no fear, and those receivers for Texas had no regard for Alabama secondary, just running right by dudes. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where we calling from. You're live on the show, caller.
Hello?
You're live on the show.
Hello? Yeah, this is Blake from, hello? I'm here.
We can hear you.
Louisiana, but I was born and raised in, Birmingham, Alabama.
What's on your mind, man?
But this is the thing. Everybody needs to just chill out. Bama gonna be okay.
Appreciate Blake there giving us that news there. Everybody needs to calm down, check out Alabama football, going to be fine. I mean, Bama football is going to be okay. It's just some things that need to be cleaned up on both sides of the ball. But we're going to grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Jason. I'm calling from San Antonio.
How we feeling, man?
We feeling all right. I mean, just to let y'all know, I am a UT fan. But I'm just calling to give y'all my take on the game.
Go ahead.
When we make that jump to the SEC, what y'all seeing is, defensively from us, you're not really seeing Pete Kwiatkowski, because some of us Texas fans feel the same way about him as y'all starting to feel about as y'all feeling about Golden. What you saw is Gary Patterson's footprint all over that defense. Just look at the secondary. And I just didn't see receivers wide open practically all game. And I didn't know we had dogs on the defensive line until I just looked at the game. And I was like, this is Gary Patterson's footprint all over this. And offensively for us, I didn't really expect Bijan to get anything going, because, we have freshmen like on one side of the offensive line, Kelvin Banks, Cole Hudson. They did pretty good for that Bama front seven. And but wide receivers, Bama fans, y'all need to calm down on the corners and give them a break, because Worthy's going to look like that on a lot of people. And Javion Sanders is going to give a lot of defensive hell too. And Whittington, he's a good possession receiver. He's a big receiver. He's built like a linebacker, so he's a good like safety net for whoever we have at quarterback, because he's out 4 to 6 weeks. He probably might not make the OU game. So, and Hudson, he's limping. He might not play the next game with UTSA. So we're going to have probably Wright behind him, or maybe Malik Murphy. But for Bama, this is what I saw. They must have did their homework on Will Anderson, because he does not be jumping off sides like that. From what I've seen, he just don't be jumping off sides like that, and he seemed to be, the crowd was getting to him. You could tell, because like this third offside penalty, he put his hands on his helmet like, what am I doing? And as far as defensively, the front seven was fine. It was just like, man, I hope Saban get that fixed before they go into SEC play, because the thing about Ewers is he's a pretty accurate quarterback. I mean, they were comparing him to Aaron Rodgers in high school, which was just pretty much of a big jump. But he throws a nice ball, and he makes some good throws, and he just can make throws that nobody else can make. But when y'all get in the SEC play, I hope that Saban fix those problems in the secondary. Because what's going to happen, like if y'all go to like Starksville and y'all got to play against Mike Leach? Because I used to watch those Texas Tech and UT games, and the quarterbacks are having like 500 yards, 600 yards passing. So I don't know what he got to do. Eli Ricks, I mean, he was sitting on the sidelines, and I mean, there was nobody in the secondary that name that I heard. And you don't really hear that, on a Nick Saban coach team. And, I was looking at some of the clips with Saban. He was really, really pacing. He was like, oh, man, we in over our head over here? No, but this is just something to come when we get to the SEC. We're just trying to get familiarity with it. Y'all just calm down. Y'all be all right. And then ain't worth a damn. Clearly, you're the number 6, and then turn around and they lose by 3 to Appalachian State. Y'all ain't got nothing to worry about in y'all division. Y'all just got to pay it. Y'all just got to get y'all things corrected. Circle the Georgia game, and y'all just be Bama. Y'all just be Bama. Y'all gonna have games like this. Every program that's at the top of college football at some point has a game like this.
Appreciate Jason calling in from San Antonio, giving his thoughts on the show. You guys continuing to light us up with calls. We'll grab this when you're live on the show. What's happening? What's going on? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, this is Michael from Columbus, South Carolina. How you doing?
Doing good, Michael, and yourself?
Good. A couple things I want to touch on. Now, I don't know about you, but there were very parts of that Texas game that kind of had me lose my breath. Like, I had to catch my breath, because there were parts that got me very worried about if Alabama was going to win this game. Now, first thing I want to touch on is I really love that we had a chance to use those receivers in this game. Trayshawn Holden had an unbelievable game. Kobe Prentice had an unbelievable game. Got a chance to see Cameron Latu, get in the game and have and play. Yamir Gibbs, Jason McClellan, seeing him have that touchdown. The see us use those receivers we have, even Isaiah Bond, Christian Leary, those guys, get to see them play. It was great. But the problem that I think we had in this game, Stephen, was the fact that it's the inside linebackers. Henry To'oTo'o. I really, really thought he was going to play better than he did last season. And to me, it's kind of disappointing to see how Texas was able to get the ball to whoever they wanted in that game. And I do believe that we need to play more of Jaheim Otis. Otis needs to get on the field more. We need to play more of guys like Eli Rich, Tyree Jackson. Get those guys in there. The Marco Helms and Jordan Battle have done an incredible job. I have enjoyed seeing what they've done in the field. But it's got me worried here, because seeing the Texas game, when the fact that we almost lost this game, it got me worried about the rest of the schedule we have. Think about it, Steven. How are we the way we played against Texas? How are we going to beat teams like LSU? How are we going to beat teams like Texas A&M? How are we going to beat teams like Mississippi State and those guys if we can't win a simple game that, to me, should have been, I predicted the score would have been like maybe 41-17 or something like that. But if we came this close to losing to Texas, just let me know, Steve, what you think. How are we supposed to go up against those teams like LSU and A&M who we have coming down the road soon?
Well, that comes down, Michael, to these 2 weeks here. You play Louisiana Monroe this week in Tuscaloosa. You play Vanderbilt next week in Tuscaloosa. How do you attack those two games? Because it's how you attack those two games that's your mentality of when you open with Arkansas on October 1st, and then you start that gauntlet. So these next 2 weeks for Bama are critical in terms of whatever we need to get cleaned up, get it clean now.
And the last thing I want to say, I coming from about Bill O'Brien. I really did, because I thought, to me, he had done a good job in the first game. And I really did thought that he was going to maybe have the defense really attacking in this game against Texas. But now I can understand the frustration from everybody, why they feel like Bill O'Brien has just let us down. And I understand that something has to change here. I just don't understand that. Something has to change. As I'm going to say, something has to change here, because the way I saw Bill O'Brien, what he did in this game in Texas, it was not good.
I mean, against Utah State, Michael, I know it's Utah State, but against Utah State, O'Brien looked like he had embraced some creativity, looked like he had embraced some different ways to use guys on the field. But then against Texas, you're back to the same thing that we saw a lot of last year. Like I mentioned before, when you got former players, guys who have worn the crimson and white jersey, guys who have been in those trenches, been in those wars, been in those battles with Coach Saban, winning those championships, and they're visibly upset on social media with the play calling that's happening in this game from Bill O'Brien, then you know everybody sees it. If the former players see it, if you as the fans see it, then obviously Saban and the staff sees what's going on there where O'Brien is concerned. But we'll see what happens. Appreciate Michael from South Carolina with that call. We go to this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steve, this is Robert from Chicago. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Robert. What's going on?
Hey, two quick points. Really been some excellent comments today, and I'm going to kind of dovetail on a couple of them, but I want to probe you on one in particular. The first one is on the offensive side of the ball. As that game went on, I could just see Texas creeping up more and more. It was like a wet blanket on that offense. And if it wasn't for Gibbs out of the backfield, we wouldn't have had any separation. We've got to find a way to get the vertical game going with Alabama so there's a threat to stretch the field. Otherwise, it's going to just be like you're playing in a sandbox in slow motion. So we got to get Harrell or some of these speed guys out there so that Bryce can have confidence to air it out. Even if he doesn't hit the pass, but just have the threat that those corners know that we can go deep. And I'm going to beat the same drum I always beat. As we get into the red zone, we've got to have better tight end play. If we're going to go up against Ohio State and Georgia down the road, we're going to have Cameron Latu be on top of his game or somebody else step up because Bryce is going to need to have the vertical game and some confidence people that he can depend on in the red zone. And obviously, the comments on the offensive line, those are well taken. We gotta figure out who's going to start and just stay with them. The question I want to probe you about, and really you probed Nick Saban, I think it was today or yesterday or someday, you asked a question about Eli Ricks, and he gave you an answer to the extent like, well, based on practices, who plays. I don't know for the life of me why, Ricks and Terrion Arnold aren't starting. I was a Kool-Aid McKinstry fan, but he just had too many penalties and too many undisciplined plays for me to feel confident in him anymore. And Kyrie Jackson, he gets burned in all these games, and I know he's a junior college transfer. He tries hard. Probably we gotta. I don't understand why Ricks isn't starting, and you probed that question. So I'd be curious as to your gut based on what you heard from Saban. What's your kind of view of what's really going on there?
So. Absolutely. Appreciate Robert from Chicago. So I asked the question to Coach Saban today on Ricks, and the way he answered the question had me thinking, is Ricks doing the right stuff in practice? That's what it had me thinking. Is Eli Ricks doing what he needs to do in practice to show Coach Saban, I am that dude? If he's doing those things, then I don't know why he's not on the field. Because what does Saban always talking about? We got to put our best out there. Well, Kool-Aid McKinstry, like Kool-Aid, but that's not your best. Kyrie Jackson, like Kyrie, but you got to put your best out there. Terrion Arnold, he gets tested at times, but he's showing you he ain't backing down. So that clearly can be one of your best guys. Let's see Eli Ricks out here. Saw him against Texas, the camera panned to him, and he had a towel over his face. So I'm like, is there something he's not doing in practice, and it's translating to the coaching staff not trusting him? Or is he showing that he's that dude in practice, and he's just not getting on the field? I don't know because I'm not at practice. This is one of the many reasons why the COVID pandemic was one of the things that really hurt me, because pre-COVID, I was out there. And I was seeing everything in practice from the first whistle to the ball flying to the last whistle. And since COVID, I have not been able to be out there because they're not allowing the reporters out there. So, I mean, I just want to see where is Ricks in terms of the comfortability and the way Saban answered the question, is he doing what he needs to do in these practices? But we grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steven? You have a back-to-back Chi-Town caller.
What's happening with you, man?
Nothing much, man. I just want to let everybody know this. Texas wasn't some type of pushover. I think people listen to predictions and they listen to Sports Center. Texas game was showing up for Alabama. And what other offensive mind other than Steve Sarkisian is going to throw such a creative offense at our defense? I mean, people forget who this man was at Alabama. And for our defense to hold them to one touchdown and field goals and come out with the win. So here's the silver lining in all of this. Alabama usually comes around when they take a loss. Usually they have one loss a year, and then after that loss, they usually go to the championship, the SEC championship, and then they usually go to the college football championship, and they either lose or win or lose. At least Texas woke us up early enough, but we came out of there with a win. But if you really watch that game, yes, we got burned, but that front seven on that defense, for Sarkisian to be throwing so much creativity at them, and they were stopping one of the top running backs in the nation. This guy is ranked number 1, number 2 in the nation as a running back, and they stopped him. Alabama will make the corrections like they always do. But Alabama was facing a Texas team that was better than what people gave them credit for. That defense was excellent coming after Alabama running game. The offense was playing up to status. And if anyone heard what Steve Sarkisian said about he wanted to impress Nick Saban, to prove to Nick Saban that his term at Alabama wasn't a waste of time. Every team gets up to play Alabama. That's what people need to understand. But Texas wasn't a pushover. I think we need to relax. I think we need to look forward to the next game and these guys saying, okay, you know what? If we're going to really play championship football, we really got to put our heads down, really go to work, and not think that teams are just going to roll over for us. So we should look for the silver lining in all of this. This wasn't a bad loss. I mean, it wasn't a bad win because Texas wasn't really a bad team. I don't know what people are watching, but Texas was a damn good team. So I'm just going to leave it there. And I do agree with the offense coordinator of Bill O'Brien. I think he's awful. I think he needs to be out of there. Alabama would not win another championship. And to waste Young's last season here at Alabama and not win a championship, that would be a travesty. All right, Steven, I'll let you go, man.
Appreciate the call right there from another Chi-Town man calling into the show. We're going to take this one right here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Steve, what's going on? It's Austin from Atlanta. We're going to switch it up. But, man, that Texas game, I was in there about this. I just got a bunch of concerns. Just like everybody been talking about Kool-Aid. I like Kool-Aid, but it's back with them penalties, man, and all that grabbing. And I don't know what's up with Nick Saban. I love Nick Saban. I call him St. Nick, but he got to get them cornerbacks to get their head around. It's not hard. A lot of passes could be picked off if they just turn their head and locate it. It's just like some with that location and turn their head, they can't get right. But I'm also say, Bill O'Brien, I didn't like none of it. We didn't have no rubber out. We all saw that they couldn't get open for whatever reason. Why not put them in like a triple set, get a little rubber ass going? You know what I'm saying? Get some of them defenders off of them. I just didn't see a lot of creativity, like you had said prior, like yesterday to this live tonight. But I don't know. The offensive line, they got to get together. Because I don't know, just like the caller said, like Texas is a great team. I knew they was gonna give us a run just because of Sarkisian. He's a beautiful play caller. Like he did good when he went to Atlanta. He did good when he was at Bama. Like he just got a bad rap because of the drinking. But everybody made mistakes. But I knew they were gonna come at Bama with all they had. And I knew it was gonna be a great game plan, and they were gonna execute to the T. It's just that we, just like the last caller said, you gotta get new starters at corner. You gotta throw Ricks in there and Terry on. Just lead them two in there. Because with those two corners, a lot of people not realizing they got size, and both of them, they turn their head and look for that ball when they're coming at them. I know everybody want to get on Terry on for missing that one play versus Utah State. He got his head around. He just missed 1.2 seconds trying to locate the ball. He gonna get better at that. Just like you say, you play safety, corner now. He gonna get better at locating that ball. But he has the size and like the strength to hold up out there. That's really all we're missing. Just locate that ball when it's coming at you, and you know what I'm saying, and be strong at corner. But I ain't gonna stay on all night keeping about what I'm talking about. But those are just my keys: is them cornerbacks, the offensive line, more creativity. Everybody else, for the most part, pretty good. We're gonna get right. Every big player gonna have a bad game. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna have one bad game. I think he's gonna get that right. It's gonna click on him. And they just need to get well with playing on the road, on these true road games. So we got some more road games coming up. We got to play better on the road. But that's it, man. Thanks, Steve. I love your show, man. Roll Tide, Devin Nation. Let's calm down, but we're going to get it right.
Appreciate Austin from Atlanta calling in here to the show. But before we get to our next callers here, got to go to a quick call topic right now, and the quick call topic goes to one Will Reichard, Alabama place kicker, got the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week award there. Reichard making the two huge field goals for Alabama against Texas, 152-yarder and 133-yarder to win the game. So appreciate the job there from Will Reichard. Big ups to him. Bama got the kicker, or has the kicker that it has always wanted, even though there are times where Reichard does not get the recognition that he deserves, the recognition that he needs in that regard. But folks, we're going to actually go to a quick break. If you're still on the phone lines, hold through, hold serve. When we come back, we will continue with your calls right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Baby, we're rocking and rolling back in here from the break. Hottest show on the streets covering your Bama football news. And before we jump back into the phone lines to grab a few more of your calls here, we got some super chats to get to. So how about Katera 1983 with that $10 donation? The super chats. Appreciate Katera 1983. And then Pacino with that $10 donation on his end, showing some love here on the super chats here for the show. But 205-448-1358, number to call in to let that voice be heard here on the show. 205-448-1358. My man Eli just wrote in Devlin with that $10 donation. The super chats, appreciate the love. They're coming from Devlin, helping us out here. But since no calls in here as of this point, I wanted to get into topic number 2 here of the conversation. But since there's been so much talk about Eli Ricks, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold and Kyrie Jackson. Anyway, we're going to wrap this thing up by going to our final topic of conversation. That's what we're going to do here. So we're going to wrap this thing up with the final topic of conversation, and that is on Bama's two receivers, that being JoJo Earle and Tyler Harrell. And could we see both of these two back in time for the Arkansas game to start the SEC gamut of competition and give Alabama two electric big play wide receivers that can stretch the field? Because what's happening right now, JoJo Earle had the foot fracture in fall camp, set to miss 6 to 8 weeks there. And, Saban mentioned in a press conference early on that, Earle could be back as early as October, early October, which that being the first game would be against Arkansas. And Earle not only gives you that quickness in terms of a receiver, but also a natural feel as a punt returner. And then you look at Tyler Harrell, who also had a slight foot issue in the preseason. He gives you just tremendous take the top off of defense secondary speed. When you look at, this guy averaged 29.1 yards per catch at Louisville last year, had 18 receptions, including 6 for touchdowns. Now, the rumor for Harrell is, and I'm looking at clarification on this, but the rumor on Harrell being thrown out there is he could potentially be back in time for the Arkansas game on October 1st as well. So if you get Earle and Harrell back for Arkansas, should this happen, you get two deadly weapons for Bryce Young to get the ball to, because fans, y'all been talking about where's Tyler Harrell. I've heard all the clips, I've heard all the press clippings, I've heard all the media talk about him, all the reporters. Where is Tyler Harrell? This is the Jamison Williams type instant offense speedster that Alabama needs. Where is he? Where the dude at? So he's able to play against Arkansas. That is huge. And if JoJo Earle is able to play against Arkansas, that is huge also. But that's kind of the rumors here floating around on social media. I'm going to get some clarification on this, but if JoJo Earle back for Arkansas and Tyler Harrell back for Arkansas, that's big time there for Alabama, especially when you look at, Bama's got talent at wide receiver. I'm not saying that Jermaine Burton and Trayshawn Holden and Ja'Cory Brooks and Isaiah Bond and Kendrick Law and Kobe Prentice, these guys are not talented, which they are, absolutely. It's, Tyler Harrell brings a different type of speed that you gotta have him on the field to create that offense. JoJo Earle brings a quickness in terms of a receiver and a punt returner that you want to have out there. So if there is truth to this speculation, and you can get Earle and Harrell back for the Arkansas game, then that is happy, happy, happy day for Alabama football. But as always, Crimson Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, coverage, and material entertainment on your Bama football program. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. Here's what you do. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. Now, for your audio needs, check us out: iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, we'll be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, a subscriber today. Get that link in the description also. If you're trying to get the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description too. Folks, on tomorrow, don't forget, streaming live, 6 p.m. Central Time, TDA's YouTube channel, The Bama Standard. You want fun, excitement, laughs, conversations, Bama legends, Bama recruits. Check it out tomorrow. The Bama Standard with Justin Riley, Dominant legend Steve Brown, all SEC linebacker Marvin Constant, Bo Scarborough, 2-time national champion for your Crimson Tide, USFL champion for the Birmingham Stallions, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. We got a rockin' show tomorrow. Here's why. We got one of the top recruits in the 2023 class, offensive lineman Olas Anganine is coming on the show, and we got guys with him. Former Bama offensive line great Antoine Caldwell is coming on the show. You don't want to miss this. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time, get your popcorn ready, go right to the TDA YouTube channel, get to the Bama Standard, streaming live to check out all the action right there. I got to shout out you guys, the outstanding fans of Bama football, all the calls, you guys lit us up tonight, making this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. I got to shout out my man. Give it up for Eli Walker one time. I mean, he handled those phone lines. Y'all were lighting Eli up. Eli, you good, baby? You good? Okay, he's good back there. He gave me a thumbs up from the other side of the glass. He's okay. But Eli was lit up with the phone calls tonight. Did an unbelievable job making this show what it is. Until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, good thing, smart thing, legitimate thing, to not be bored. Get that schoolwork done also. Get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.